I was like,
everyone. Right,
I really need to. I want to update our intro, but I do like it when I play it. I'm like, I'm always like getting into it or whatever. But anyway, welcome to Those Two Sisters Thursday Night Live. How you doing, sis? I feel like I haven't talked to you all week.
I think we haven't, because work and everything life related has been, really doing its thing. Like,
yeah, because mommy had called me and was like, "Have you talked to your sister?" And I was like, "Yeah, I talked to her in text, and we always send Instagrams back and forth."
Yeah. So we've been communicating.
Right.
Yeah, I talked to her too. I think I talked to her earlier this week, but yeah, man, life been lifing. Like, I don't know, like it's not like I'm scared or anything, but I think here's what's happening. I'm trying, I started the year off and I'm trying all these things. Like, I'm going to get better at this and this and that and that. And it's like 6 things all at once. And it's challenging. Like, that's why people don't try to make themselves better, because it's easier to not do that. But I get it. And I'm struggling through. I'm on the struggle bus, seat number 7. But
well, let me say, we're all on that struggle bus. And I actually talked about this in one of my RETV videos, right? Shout out to RETV, Relationship Entertainment Television Network, YouTube. If you guys are not following them, your girl got a show over there. So anyway, but I talked about this because I always go around talking about how great of a multitasker I am. I remember when I used to always get my resume together, like that's like in the first sentence of my little action statement or whatever, like, and I've realized now in my big age that, it probably, especially now, is a little bit smarter to work on one thing at a time, because when you do multitask, it is a little lag between the tasks. And sometimes you don't even realize how much the lag is, because part of that time you think you're doing multiple things, you're figuring out how to do some of those things while you're trying to do something else. So it's like you're doing like 10% here, 45% over here. And so I just been focusing, and I just started this week because I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop having all these multiple lists in my head of I got to do 1, 2, 3. I'm just going to be like, you know what? All of that stuff I got to do, but I can only do one thing at a time. Let me just focus on this or whatever. It is hard, especially since I was like, I'm the best multitasker or whatever, but don't feel bad, because think about back when we were younger, there was not all of these things to grab our attention at one time. Like, you went to school, you didn't have no cell phone to even look and see what nobody else was doing. You just had to do your homework and whatever was going on in your house, and whatever, show was coming on that night or whatever, right? Now it's like having a phone, especially like a smartphone in your hand, it creates 1,000 things that you could be doing at once. And it makes you feel like you're not, but like, yeah. So anyway, don't feel bad.
No, that's perfect. That's exactly what I was going to point at too, because I think that, certain things have gotten easier with technology and all that and the access to information, but certain things become more challenging and a little harder because, well, number one, there's the expectation, right? Like back before, like, I think, our mom worked in, in an office job, and, they didn't have the internet and all that stuff when she was first starting to work there. So it was like phone calls and fax machines and things like that. And I think, the level of
what do they call them? Dictaphone machines?
The dictaphone machines, yeah. We definitely used to use them before. Everybody, please excuse this little monster in the background. She's just wanting to be on camera. Anyway, for that reason, though, the level of expectation was lower. It's like you don't expect somebody to get 50 things done in a day, because and then I feel like just the access to the access that people have to you is more sort of in your face, because it's like you can reach me a number of ways. You know what I'm saying? Like, not only can you call me, which nobody ever really does, but not only can you email me, you can ping me, you can chat me, you could do all these things.
Because this is one of my major pet peeves, right? Yeah, it's that access that you have that appears instant, right? Yeah, just because you
Mm-hmm.
that email doesn't mean I'm going to open it as soon as you send it. So the people
Right.
that send the emails and then call or come to your office and be like, "Yeah, did you get that email I just sent you? Which one are you talking about, Susan? The one you just sent 20 seconds ago? No, I haven't
I
opened it.
used to
I'm
have
working on this." And that's one of the things that used to press me into multitasking. I will sit at my computer and I'm working on this. It may have three components to whatever I'm working on. Then somebody sends an email and I'm like, oh, I can just answer that real quick. Meanwhile, I've lost focus on this thing that had three moving parts, but I sent that email out. Now I gotta regroup and be like, okay, where was I at on this? Okay. And then I would do a series of that all day long and just kind of in my head just be prioritizing things or whatever. When if I just finished what I was doing, I probably would knock off so many things off that list.
You know what's funny? Oh gosh, so now I don't feel as crazy as I did before because I've reverted back. So like it's so funny because it kind of reminds me of back in my server days and when I used to work in restaurants. And whenever I would get in the weeds, I would slow down. And it's like the thing that nobody would tell you to do. But it's just like I would slow down and I would try to consolidate. But it would be like, I'm not going to make any mistakes because I'm just going to slow down. Everybody else in here sees everybody else in here. So they can't be expecting me to be running around, right? Like you see,
and part of that is your expectation on yourself because, like I said, just because that email was sent, if you're already working on something, you don't have to stop what you're doing and answer that email. You can finish what you're doing, then go to that email. You know what I mean? So
I find myself having to do things that way because if you're just reactionary and you're just jumping to what everybody's asking you to do when you're asking them to do it, then it's hard for you to remember, did I finish that task? So what I've done recently is I've reverted back. When I'm saying I go slower, I've reverted back to my index cards. And like I'll bring out the index card method when I need it. It's mostly when I'm overwhelmed and I have more than 15 things that have to be done on a regular basis. But like it's so simple. It takes a little bit of time, right? It takes probably about 15 minutes to get started because you really have to like jot out each single thought on a card. But then
did you do this in the accountability group?
No, those were my goals for the year that I posted, but like I've been using them in a different way when it comes to my daily work because it's like, just like you said with the list, the best thing about index cards is that you can only focus on one at a time. So it's the top one only.
You can't even see the rest.
And it's like, and the great thing about index cards to me is I'm about to start a whole series on this on my channel, but that's another thing that is like a thing that I didn't start. So I'm just like, but like basically I've been using the method. So basically you put all your thoughts out, right? Like I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this, I got to do that. Every single thought goes on one card, right? And then you're like, oh, now I'm going to spread them out and I'm going to put them in order, right? And so the good thing about an index card, number one, is it's physical. You got to do something with it. It's not a virtual list. It's not a list inside a notebook that you can turn the page. It's like, these are my cards and I have to do something with them. Right. And so then after I order them together and they're stacked up on my desk, I take the first one and the first one only. And I do as much as I can do because that's the highest priority. Right. So I do as much as I can do. And then when I did as much as I can do, I'll put that one off to the side and I'll work on the next one. And it does give me a sense of like, really like ownership over my time because it's like, look, I'm doing the best I can do. I've prioritized for you people. Like I'm going to make sure that I'm doing the most important thing, but you have to let me do it. So if I get a ping or message or sometimes even a phone call, I'll be like, nope, not until I finish my card.
Listen, it might seem like you're not, because I feel like I hear some naysayers out there that's going to watch this replay and be like, nope, I'm going to multitask forever. But I am the queen multitasker. You know what I'm saying? And I know how it comes from serving too, because as a server, you trying to do, hit 3 tables. I'm going to go take their order. I'm going to take their order and I'll put that food in, whatever. But, when you're working all these tasks, the list that we have to do sometimes, nobody expects us to do all of that. They can't. But in order to be more effective, I feel like the index card thing is very interesting because you can't even it's different than the list because the list, you can still see everything. and it's still looking at you like you got to do
still
all
looking at you like,
what are you gonna do? Card thing is like, okay, once I take this card, then I'm gonna finish it, and then I won't even really be thinking about other stuff or whatever. So I really had to work hard on that, because that stuff will take you way long. It'll take you all day long to do everything. If you keep doing like that, you're gonna look up and be like, dang, 2 hours passed, because and you only finished one thing because you got stuck on here and started responding to this email. Then you decided you wanted to play solitaire. Like, then it's a never-ending YouTube thing. Like,
it's a rabbit hole.
Need a break.
And look,
you know
I'll get caught up in things that I'm supposed to be doing, but they're not as important. So it's just like, oh, this has to be done in 2 weeks. Let me look into it now. No, let me do what's due at 3:00, right? Like,
I mean,
so that's what got me started.
It's because either you start doing something else like that, or you start like those little games and stuff on the phone. I was joking when I said solitaire, but that is really, really a thing, because the reason why we get distracted with stuff like that and watching YouTube things like that is because we know we can do that. Like, oh, I can play this game. I can, it'll be easy to play this game. Or a lot of times it's because you're thinking about the load of stuff that you have to do. But like, I like your index card thing. I'm going to have to try it. I can't wait till you do your video about it to explain it, because that is something that I feel like I need to try, because I don't feel like I get anything done when I have a bunch of lists, right? I have a bunch of lists, but I always have to break them down into smaller lists, and I feel like I'm wasting time doing that. Or whatever. So,
well, not necessarily, but yeah, I'm definitely gonna let you know and link to you when I do that, because when I do that series, when I start that series, because thank you, y'all, my husband's so great. Let me just go ahead and talk about him real quick.
Yeah,
I literally had conditioner in my hair, and I pulled my hair back, and I thought it looked fine. Like, I took all my Zoom calls for work today with conditioner in my hair. No one said anything. And on screen, it looked fine, because I never I just honestly, everybody's fine. But when my husband saw me, because he went in today, we came back, and I was like, yeah, we about to start. He was like, yeah, so you okay with your hair like that? I was like, what do you mean? Does it look crazy? And as I heard myself say that,
you mean
I recognized that was him saying, yes, it looks crazy. Then he tried to say it all nice. He was like, I need to look at my hair. I need a haircut. And he started talking about himself. I was like, okay, yeah, I need to do something. So that's
what is it? You can still see the conditioner or something?
Well, so I had it slick back. And I had a slick back, and I had like a little ponytail. He was like, well, you never have a ponytail. I was like, yeah, I got conditioner in it. But I just had it slick back, and you could kind of see the conditioner in the ponytail, but I was hoping that, like, with the headband and the slick back, that you could only just kind of like see, this part or whatever. But luckily he came, because I would have hated to look crazy on camera. Like, there's just no need for that, when I could have just rested out and, did whatever I do. But, he was so funny. But anyway, so this brings me into, yes. Well, thanks to my husband. He just found my lip gloss. That's why he came here. Oh, no. Well, look, I'm getting ready to start with our second topic, because we're going to try to keep it cute and keep it for, like an hour. So we talked about how our week was. Oh, one thing we didn't talk about, though, is working out in the morning. I did have 2 things to say about that. I've been trying. I've not been succeeding all the time, but like, if I'm counting the month of January, I'm probably at I probably worked out like maybe 7 times. That's really bad. If you think about the entire month of January, I probably worked out like 7 times, but it's better than 0. But I will say this, working out in the morning does a couple of things for me. Number one, I gotta play devil's advocate too, but number one, it gets it out of the way, right? But then it also gives me this sense of power when I come back from the workout, and it's just like the sun's just coming out, and I'm like, I already got the leg up on the day. I got my workout in. I feel good. I'm energetic because I worked out, and I feel more like there's momentum that has been created, and then you don't have to think about it all day. But I will say, on the flip edge of that, like, if you're not necessarily a morning person to start, that's another barrier, right? Like you're fighting to work out because you're not a morning person. You got to get through the first struggle to get to the second struggle. So
yeah,
two sides.
Yeah, I agree because I was working out at night and my classes were like at 6:50 in the evening, right? Last the hour. Now I have no problem with the classes, but it was just the time of day. And first I did it, but then my schedule just got shaken up, so now I can't do it. But now I realize I probably should have moved up anyway, because doing it in the evening, it's like, okay, yeah, I got all day to get there or whatever. But if anything happens during the day, it could mess that up if I'm not on time or whatever. So I was like, when I got sick in January, I only worked out 7 times this year. In January as well. Yeah. Because I was sick that first part of January, and then getting back into the swing of things. But like, you're right. In the morning, you get that boost of energy. You feel like I've done something hard already, so you are ready to tackle the day, right? And it also drives my food choices. So if I work out in the morning, it makes me, I have that in my mind. So as I go on, I'm thinking, no, I'm not going to eat that. No, that's going to look good with that workout or whatever, right?
Right.
But okay, I get you're not a morning person because I'm not either, right? And because I'm working from home, which I'm so grateful for.
Me too. Can we pour something out for the work from home?
And I don't have to get up at 4:30 or 5:30 in the morning to do the workout. So what I have been doing is I actually did mine on my lunch break. It was like 11 something by the time I did it. Like by the time because what I would like to do is get up, do my morning affirmations and prayer, and then work out, then shower, then come and sit down in my desk. But that's in a perfect world. Nobody, whoever is on point with that, kudos to you, because I normally get up. I usually end up brushing my teeth and washing my face, and then I hear my email go off, and I run to the computer to see what they're talking about.
Lord.
I stand up for a little while typing, then I end up sitting down, then I'll be like, these motherfuckers, and then I end up sitting there for an hour, and then I'm like, let me get ready to work out. And so anyway, that's how I've been doing it. But I've been getting the workouts in anyway. And I noticed that I think I needed to start in the nighttime with the group support and make it a habit. And now I'm like, okay, I'm ready to get the workout in, but I just need to get it in and get it out the way. And so, like I said, my schedule changed that made me be like, why didn't I think about this before? But I loved the women that I was going to work out with. But like now I'm like, well, I gotta knock it out in the beginning of the day. Okay. Anyway,
it's crazy because I think it's great to have community available, but you have to use what works for you. You have to use the system, methods, schedule that works for you. And so it does take a little bit of choreography, but I feel like you are on to what is working for you because you see how this works. So if this doesn't work so well, like, let me get it like this. So I think, you got this. So, but it's funny.
Yeah, and you do too. So don't beat yourself up about, I only did these. Don't focus on that.
Yeah.
Every day is a new day. You got to do something today. You got to do something tomorrow. Like, don't even, if you didn't do it, then don't focus on that. Focus on, okay, well, what's my new routine going to be?
You're just talking just like me. It's so funny how I talk to myself versus how I talk to everybody.
You're related.
So this is funny because, so I'm just going to say this because it's real. It's Black History Month, and I want to shout out I Rock Black Brands. Yeah.
I have to explain what that is because I want people to be able to participate. So I Rock Black Brands is on Instagram. Now, every Black-owned product that I purchase or come across or whatever, I will be uploading to that. But if you rock Black brands, you need to hashtag I Rock Black Brands and take a picture of yourself using your Black brand, whatever you're supporting, so we can spread the word about all of these great Black brands that people are out here creating every day or whatever. So anyway, and it's Black History Month.
And I think a great way for people to support Black History Month is to, create wealth in our community. So it's like, if you're buying something, especially if you're not particularly like married to a certain product, like, you know, like I like Tide or I like Gain or whatever, right? Like I'll tell you this, I like Shea Moisture, and I realize that's not a black brand, but I like it. And I like but you know, guess what I watch?
They sold it, right?
I think so.
Because
And
I
I
know it
guess,
was.
but guess what's funny? Because I didn't even realize I did this, but like now I'm using the Tabitha Brown products. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you know, of course it's a collab with Ulta, but her daughter's recipe is a black brand. So it's like these little opportunities. And I know there's a couple of ways you can look up black businesses. One, you know, there's a bunch of ways, guys. I'm not even going to sit here and just, you know, name it, because you could just literally Google it. There's, you know, the bank that I participate with, and I also have another bank account, but the Greenwood Bank actually has in their app all of these black owned companies. And then there's plenty of like YouTube, and there's plenty of ways you can find black brands. But Instagram, I think it's a good, you know, if you don't have anything that you're readily doing to celebrate Black History Month, like looking up different people who you know, have impacted society, who have invented things, who have gone out of their way to do hard stuff so that other people coming behind them could have a better life. If you don't feel like doing any of that, you feel like you've gotten enough of that, one way that you could support Black History Month is to just like replace one thing in your life every day with a black brand, right? Like maybe your toilet paper is not your favorite, and find some black people who make toilet paper, right? Like, so there's a thing. I wanted to say that.
Okay, I got to do a shameless plug. There are several ways to find black brands. However, one way you can find black brands is to go to Relationship Entertainment Television, and there are interviews with the Entrepreneur Insider Show. They do the Women's Champ, and then they have me over there, and I promote a black brand every week. So definitely check out Relationship Entertainment Television. Back to you, Faith.
Yeah, I love that. I'm so glad you did that. And you know what's funny? That's going to be our life, is we're going to be shouting out all of our sponsors. We don't have any sponsors right now, but look, we're on the move. So yeah, I guess, you know, just summing up how my week was, I wanted to get into like some mental health stuff, because I think it's a term that people use, but it's like it's becoming one of those terms that are starting to lose its meaning, because I think that, you know, it's used a lot and people don't really understand or have a connection to their own lives. And what dawned on me when we were talking about making this a topic is that I think a lot of us out there are. Hi, I'm sorry. I didn't even see who the name was, but
I'm sorry. On Spot Live. I don't know if she still has her first home tuber channel, or if she changed the name. So forgive me if I got that wrong. But hey, lady. Anyway, go ahead, Faith.
Yeah. So I wanted to say that sometimes we hear these terms and they kind of get a little watered down because we don't have a connection necessarily. But there's a lot of us who are going through things and we haven't really attributed to our mental health. Like I had mentioned before that, like I am trying to do like 6 or 7 new improvements in my life, and I'm trying to take it one at a time. But there is a lot of distraction and there is a lot of obstacle, like issues with things that get in the way, and I'm going to push through, but that doesn't mean it's not going to be hard. Now, I'm not just going to stop and say, oh, it's going to be hard, buck up. I'm going to just make sure that I listen to my body, that I listen to my mind, that I pray, that I listen to my spirit, because I don't want to do something that's going to put me, you know, let's say, just for instance, like one of the things I'm trying to do is create more content and get my brand moving so that I can monetize. Now, with that is going to come some late nights, some early mornings, some sacrifices. I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, I can push through, but not at the expense of my mental health. Like when I say that, it's not like all or nothing, but I think one of the things that happens, especially in our culture, is that we overlook some of the signs of burnout. We overlook some of the things that that we need to really be paying attention to, especially if it's you and especially if it's somebody who you feel is strong. And so I kind of wanted to talk about it from that perspective because thank you so much, Garcon. I wanted to talk about it from that perspective because I feel like there's a couple of ways of coping that I want to share because it's not like, I'm over here, melting down, but there's nothing wrong with that. I try not to let myself get to the point where I melt down, but I have melted down before.
So I think that it matters, like you said, of identifying those signs or whatever, because all of us have been through like a string of traumatic things in the last 3 years, like whether it's the pandemic or whether it's somebody having COVID. A lot of people are leaving, and then you have all of the different deaths of celebrities as well. And then like for instance, the Damar Hamlin thing, everybody watched that football game, watched him pass out and have to have CPR performed on him or whatever. So like traumatic stress, you might not even realize is bothering you or whatever. And then you got like the other suicide things, right? And so like you never know what people are dealing with. Yeah. And it's like this. It's like you're in your bubble, right? Yeah, I got my little struggles, but compared to some of the things that people are going through, it's not the worst thing in the world. But like you just have no idea what some people are dealing with, right? And so I do agree with that. Because I just went through, it's so funny that you say this. It's like we're here because in that other video that I did on relationship entertainment television, I talked about coping with traumatic stress. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of it was things that even if you're not dealing with stressful situations, they will help you. You know what I mean? So I have a couple ideas of what people could do. The main thing is to go see a therapist because your friends that you're talking to, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So therapist is number one. If you do not want to see a therapist, I have 3 other ones that I think you'll like. Anyway.
So definitely everybody go check out that video because I know she has some hot things, and I didn't even see the video. But I know she has some bomb suggestions in there. I will say that one of the things that I've recently rediscovered is journaling because I do a lot of writing things down, making mind maps, lists, like I said, index cards. But as far as me tapping into my own thoughts, I feel like journaling is so underrated because it's an opportunity for you to present and face your own thinking. And a lot of the thoughts that you think aren't necessarily true, even though you believe them, right? It's like you're just accepting these thoughts. They're running over and over in your mind on a constant basis. And then you're believing it. But if you wrote it down and looked at it, or really through the act of writing, you're confronted. You have to be able to check it. What do they call it? It's not reality check. It's like when they fact check. When you're writing something down, you're automatically fact checking it because you're I even find myself doing this when I'm journaling. I may want to write something like, this was the worst day ever, but it's okay, well, it wasn't the worst day ever, so I'm not going to write that. It's just this is a challenging day. You know what I'm saying? And
you pay more attention to what you would say when you're writing versus just thinking it. And also you get a lot off if you have a lot in your mind. Writing it all down, I love brain dumps because you can go back to a brain dump and make several lists if you need to, but if you get it out, then you don't have to remember it. And I was trying to tell your nephew that, but it dawned on me that we grew up with pen and paper. You know what I'm saying? When mommy took me to work with her when I was little, I had fun coloring on paper and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Those are so
fun. That generation is all digital. So he probably was looking at me like, I'm not about to write shit down.
And that is and it's interesting because his experience is different than ours. I can't even imagine not having that be the thing that comes to mind because it's something that people did for centuries. You know what I'm saying? Before and now, over the past 20 years, it's different. So it's like, whoa, slow. Like, is this really did we all collectively make this choice? But this is where we are. You know what I'm saying? And then with things like Chat GPTs, you're not even about to have to write
Somebody just okay, so I have not completely looked into that yet. You mentioned it to me, and then one of the drumline moms mentioned it to me, and she was like, she getting on her friend's nerves or whatever with that or something, but because she be asking it questions. So I'm gonna try it out. I wrote it down
like, it's pretty odd. Like, I have used it, but recently it's been down. So this is the thing. Like, right now, I think it's like in a phase where
all this stuff, man, all this stuff. I'm only thinking about that movie Short Circuit, where when the electronics started.
Oh God, you went all the way back. I thought you was gonna say I, Robot or something.
Oh no, I'm talking about
Short Circuit was from what, 1985 or something? Golly.
I'm not even gonna look.
Those people are about to be 40 who were born that year. I'm laughing at all my friends. Like, people are like posting stuff like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna be 40. I'm gonna be 40." I'm like, been there, done that. And so anyway,
I'm doing a training session for how to apply in my industry. Nice. That's what's up.
Now look, it's funny because it's not completely accurate, but the level of accuracy is there. I feel like it's like, look at this girl over here. Do you see Buttercup over here judging me?
She's like, I'm minding my business, grooming myself.
The level of accuracy. I mean, look, I did a couple of like little tests and stuff, and it does work. Okay, and it's pretty accurate. It's pretty funny too if you like make it like in the tone of a kindergarten teacher. I did something in the tone of a kindergarten teacher. I did something in the tone of a drill sergeant. It's like you could say like, tell me about the invention of the pencil in the tone of whatever, right? Like, you could just make something up and then they'll do it. And it's so funny because the facts check out. Now, I did search some stuff in my field that I knew very well in HR, and it was wrong. Like, the beginning part was right.
But I heard that it has more logical responses than Google would. Like,
yeah, well, in a conversational way.
Okay. She said it puts you in a good place for editing. Yeah. Okay. And then the other person said that you're not going to write any papers or any full out papers with it, but it'll definitely get you, what you need or whatever. So I'm gonna
check what it's good for. Now that I really think of it, it's like, if you know how when you like are trying to figure out how to start an email or something, or like how do I do this in this tone or whatever, it's like you start there and then you can go back and be like, oh, I'll change this, I'll add this in. It's really nice for that as it is in this current state, but I feel like it's only going to get better, especially since it has so much like popularity and people are talking about it.
It'll be thinking for itself in no time.
The only problem right now that I'm having is that whenever I try to access it, the system is down, and I think it's because it's so popular. Like, people are finding out about it, and they're trying to access the system, and their bandwidth is not Google's bandwidth. Okay. So, but yeah, we're going to talk more about that, and that's not even one of the topics we were talking about. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about mental health and some of the coping mechanisms that we utilize. Journaling is definitely something that I had not necessarily forgotten about, but hadn't been utilizing. So I'm grateful that I've rediscovered it. Talking. I think that people underestimate the power of talking both ways. Like, when you feel something and it's on your mind, I do recommend you talk about it with somebody. Maybe not even, maybe you don't have access to a therapist, you don't want to talk to a therapist, but like, you should talk to somebody, because a lot of times just getting it out of your head is going to help you like put things into perspective. You just getting it out, right? And then luckily, hopefully you have somebody in your life that's not going to, use things against you that you tell them, or are going to be judgmental against you or anything like that. I'm very lucky to have people in my life that are supportive. So, but I do want to say, if you're going to talk to somebody, that's something you should be cautious of. Do not talk to your haters about your big dreams. Do not talk to people who are negative about you wanting to get out of a negative headspace, because that's not going to work, right? But just sometimes just getting it out is helpful. So I definitely recommend that. This one's, whatever. Working out. I recognize the difference when I'm working out versus when I'm not, because I'm able to get that energy out. There was a time that I was mad too, that I remember this so clearly, because it was not that long ago. It was like, it was within the last probably like 6 months. But like, I remember I was really mad that morning and I went to go work out and I got the best workout in. I was listening to my music and I was going so hard on that machine. And it was like so therapeutic because I was able to do something with my energy.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at Buttercup in the background now.
Oh yeah, she was not here.
Like keep your leg up. Anyway, but no, go ahead. I'm sorry. No, you're right.
The workout. It does, right? Go ahead. You were going to say.
Well, I want to chime in on that, because even when I was doing my workouts in the evening, after that 50 minutes, I felt really good. Even though I could not do any more exercise and I was happy for the class to be over, like I would be, just loving the fact that I was sweaty as hell because I just did some hard shit, or shit that I perceived that was hard, right? But I got through it. And so when you do that, especially in the morning, when you do that, like I said, the hardest part of your day is over. You know what I'm saying? So it changes your mind, because it lets you get a chance to work out whatever the feelings are. You're not really talking to anybody. You're just dealing with you versus you. Like, okay, this happened, but you need to get get this cardio in, or lift these weights, or whatever it is. And then by the time you get to the end of your workout, your mental, you're calmer. You've exerted the energy. You may not have to slap a bitch now, you know what I'm saying? Right. And so, yeah, I definitely agree with that. I just wanted to piggyback.
So on that. Goody has a really good suggestion too. Chanting. She says audio frequencies increase vibrations. Now, I did not have that on my list, but that is so fire.
Yes. Real quick. If you're not following Goody, please follow Goody Gabor. Ascension Intentions, please, 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 please. And she has some podcasts as well. And I hope that her link is on that channel. If not, I'll come back and put it in this description at the end of the video. But Goody, I think that's a great idea. Goody has to do that too. But go ahead, Faith.
Yes, and she would be the person to speak to this, better than me. But I definitely know for sure that is a good solution for, coping and just having your mental health together. It's like, I definitely have done that before, like with my, not necessarily like a chant, but like saying one thing to myself, like an affirmation, saying that over and over. And it's like, even the rhythm and the, everything just kind of like seeps through you. There is this music that I listen to when I go to sleep. Sometimes I listen to affirmations in the middle of the night, but there's this other, like these chakra like gong sounds. Like I can't even really explain it, but it's like meditation music, and you can find it, and it feels good. You know when it's good, when it feels good. Actually, Kanye West came out with this, I don't know, some quoted Kanye or something, some Instagram thing that comes up on my feed. And he was saying that 808s and heartbreaks had an awful frequency, and that it was like an evil frequency. And like he could, he was explaining how like would actually put you in a bad mood. So it's interesting that it was popular. But I'm like, wow, I think about music like that sometimes, like, but I think about it more so like with lyrics, when people say things, it's called
binaural
frequency.
How you say it? Binaural frequency.
Binaural. I don't know.
So yeah, because I listen to some of those sometimes with headphones.
Yeah, and it calms you. I literally will have that stuff playing in the back of my like when I'm working. I'll literally have the sounds that I like playing in the background. And like, because here's why. Oh, this is so funny.
Well, now
like,
they got all these noises like brown noise, green noise, pink noise. I didn't even know that it was anything other than a white noise.
I like if you look up meditation sounds or meditation music, it's like the, you know, these bowls or whatever that they use,
the
and it's
singing
like
bowls, yeah.
So and it's so funny
because a little bit of that, I think too. The sound bath.
Yes, the sound bath.
I remember Sarita. She was in Positive Sisterhood with me, but she does.
I remember.
She does that some videos sometimes or whatever. Yeah, because it's all about
actually searching YouTube these things. And what's funny is like even just having that, sometimes they'll have like a water sound with that in the background. And it's so funny because it puts me in this state of mind. And then when somebody pings me or emails me or tries to get in contact with me, and then they fuck up my chakras,
snatch you out of it.
They put my stuff out of alignment. Then
because Earl listens to a lot. I'm grateful that some of the things that I do, he picked up on that work for him. Because I notice a lot of times, like if he stays up for, like when he's home visiting, he stays up for a long time playing his game and stuff, he'll be asleep at a time that I'm up, right? And then all I hear out of his room is some like rain or thunder, you know, one of those videos or whatever, or some meditation thing or whatever. So, you know, but Goody does the chalk crush. Well, she doesn't do the chalk crushing videos, but she turned me on to watching them. And I really do like those. There's something about just watching the chalk crush and then you hear the sound or whatever. Like if it's not fresh chalk though, sometimes I'll be like, oh, this is a recrumble. What is this? What is this bullshit? Anyway.
No, that's so funny. All right. So the next few that I have that I'm going to talk about before we wrap this up are things that may or may not work for other people, but they work for me. I do this thing called the why game. This is particularly when I'm overwhelmed or when I have a negative thought, and I'll just keep on asking myself why until I get to the root of what is bothering me. So it's just like, let's take, for instance, somebody said something to me that I felt was not, you know, so it was uncouth, right? Like, let's say a coworker says something to me and I'm like, what the, right? And I'm like, that bothers me. So I'll ask myself, why? Because it's disrespectful. That's why. Well, why is it disrespectful? Because she should know that this is what's happening. Okay, why should she know that? Because this is the standard that everybody lives by. Okay, well, why is it the standard everybody lives by? Because this, right? I'll just ask myself that over and over and over until I get to a point where I can't break it down anymore. And a lot of times I'll come away with something that I didn't even realize I believed. I'll say something to myself and I'll be like, oh, I didn't even know I thought that, right? It's just like, because she should know better because I'm experiencing this. And it's like, well, she would never know that because I've never even said it out loud, right? So that's just one example, but I play the why game and it really gets into your own head and it's your reasons, it's your beliefs, and you can do with them with what you wish, but another thing that I'll do, yes, I'm big on knowing why. Like, why does this bother me? Why is this a problem? Why is this a distraction? Why, you know, why am I doing this? What am I trying to get out of this? Right. So,
and also, you have to do that when you're offended, right? Because you have to, or if somebody does something that like irritates you, you have to do that. You have to be like, well, why does this irritate me? Is it this person's fault or my fault that it irritates me? Because like you said, if it's something that I feel like you should know, I can't really hold you responsible for that if I haven't let you know. You know what I mean? So yeah, that does kind of make me kind of put the mirror to myself sometimes and be like, well, you shouldn't even be mad about this. You know, that's not even what happened. You know. Anyway, so
but it's a belief that you're experiencing, and that's another thing why it goes back to journaling. Because I mean, listen, I'm not saying this as if I've got it all figured out. I'm literally putting pieces together on a daily basis and rediscovering things that I knew about previously but haven't been practicing. So
I mean, realistically, that's kind of what it is to be a human, because we don't know everything. You know what I'm saying? If you're not learning and constantly like trying to figure out why, that I don't know what you're doing, because I never run out of stuff to be like, I wonder.
Right. I never run out of stuff to look, which brings me to the next one, which is taking action / Googling. Now, this is so funny because I consider Googling an activity. Like,
yeah, but you can Google yourself into, like, it's some people that I know that diagnose themselves off the internet all the time, Googling shit and WebMD. They've diagnosed themselves.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, you don't need to be thinking that, right? You don't need to be focusing on you might have, you need to be.
Yeah. You know, I know. I do understand that because James.
But let's hear how you do it.
But look, let me tell you. So Googling to me is an activity because there's a way to Google stuff. So like I recently discovered that there's like shortcuts to Googling. Like you can put stuff in there and be like, without this, like there's different. I didn't even realize that. Like it makes sense, but what I do when I talk about Googling, and I think everybody probably has their own like specific way of doing it, but like I'll put together 2 words and I'll put together 3 or 4 words and then I'll take one out and I'll put one in, just depending on what the search is. And it's like I'll find stuff so crazy that way. And so what that does for me as far as mental health is, you know, let's say I'm struggling with, you know, my weight or my perception of something or my, you know, or drinking or, you know, depression or whatever it is. Like whatever I'm Googling, I can just look together. And I'm not saying that I'm going to diagnose myself, because that is something to be careful of, people. You know, not everything you find is the real answer, but sometimes
and what you focus on grows. So
yeah. But sometimes here's what, and they say YouTube is the second biggest search engine. Obviously, Google is the first. If you find yourself in a space where you're trying to figure something out and you happen to come across somebody through Googling or searching who maybe like has some answers or has some connections or have some experience, like that can be like a come up. That could be something that's like, oh, you know, you might discover something about yourself from Googling or from just researching, from thinking about things in a different way. Not everything that you're going through is bad just because you feel like it's bad. That's one of the things that I'm starting to realize is like, just because my emotions are telling me this doesn't mean that it's true. And that's one of the things that journaling is doing for me, because it's like, you know, like, you know, you're writing this down and this is how you feel, but that's how you feel. That's not necessarily like the truth of the facts of the matter.
I mean, yeah, like, because a lot of that goes back to what are you telling yourself? What are you believing that is not true, right? And then you've come to this this conclusion of, oh, and now you're focusing on that. So it's kind of like, you know, like you said, I think that it starts with the journaling. You can face your own thoughts and then go from there. With the Googling thing, I do Googling a certain way. Like I will type out whatever sentence I want, or I will like always like, okay, for instance, a really simple one is my remote stops working, right? Okay, I'm going to Google the cable company's name. I'm going to Google the model number of the remote, and I'm going to be like stuck. And then all of these things will come up, right? And it's so funny because I don't know why I do it like that. And I just assume everybody else did it the same way.
No.
A lot of people, I'm noticing that a lot of people, first, one, won't even go to Google first. But if they go to Google, they will look up one thing and not even think of, you know, because I'm of the mind frame of, I'm not the first person this happened to. So somebody had to have said something about this. And then if not, I can find maybe 2 or 3 articles to be like, okay, I got a little gem from that one. I got a little gem from that one. I got a little gem from that one. Boom. By golly, we fixed it, right? But everybody doesn't do that. But yeah, so it is an activity. It is an activity.
Because people don't, like, those are key elements to a Google search. The model number.
Did you thoroughly search Google, or did you just go say, Google, where's the next whatever? Like, how deep did you go? Because I find other questions from Googling. I'm like, okay, I'm starting out Googling this, but now I'm like, okay, now what about this? Or what about this? Or whatever. So yeah, you're right. Like, I just assume that everybody is a thing that you can ask questions to. So why would you limit yourself and just being like, oh, it doesn't have the answer because I typed it in like this? I don't.
Some people don't even Google; they just ask their wives. We don't even talk about that. Moving right along. Another thing that I think, okay, so these are corny, but I don't care. Disney movies. I love me, like, especially if you grew up on Disney movies. Like, sometimes you just need to watch a Disney movie and it'll get you out of your little funk. Here's why I say Disney, and it's not like this, I'm working for Disney or anything like that, but a lot of times they'll have a message in them that you'll get by watching you're entertained, your sort of like frontal lobe is occupied or whatever, and then you're getting this message of like, oh, you know what, this whole time I've been watching this, I never thought this, but yeah, I'm like this person or whatever, right? Like it's a whole thing. But like sometimes when I'm kind of sad, I'll watch like Cinderella or Inside Out, or even like Avatar, or I watched a little while ago.
And I don't know how long, man.
I'm telling you, if you get into a sad space, watch you a Disney film, and don't you see if you come out of that thing okay? Because I watched, I'm telling you, I watched Soul. And
that was like, good.
Oh man, that shit really fixed me up. And the funny thing is,
I had a couple of problems with it, but I liked it.
Okay, we gotta talk about those. But even like so just take Cinderella for instance. Like there's nothing in that that's probably like a life lesson or anything like that. But just the the magic of it. And I just remember being little and watching that joint like 150,000 times. And you just pick up on different things. Your brain does things that you didn't expect it to do. And I find myself watching them little mice like, yeah, if they can figure out how to sew a dress, then I can definitely figure this project out.
I haven't watched that in eons.
It's a really funny joint. I mean, some things you go back and you watch and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I watched this as a child.
So I do want to do a thing. I do want to kind of look at, maybe we'll look at one or two things that we used to watch way back in the day now to see what we think now, because I have been noticing a lot of stuff that people are rewatching, and I'm like, they were playing that. So yeah, I want to do that. So are you finished with your list of coping things?
The last thing I had on there was sometimes you just need to cry. You just need to cry it out. Because you know what? But what happens to me, I don't know if this happens to everybody, but if you just have yourself your little cry, then you get to the point in the cry where you're like, okay, I've done that. And then you're like, okay, what now? And your brain starts to think.
Energy. Yes, a release of energy. It's just like when you was a kid, when you would like get in trouble or go get a spanking or something, you're in there crying. Eventually you come to a point where you're like, what the fuck am I crying about?
Right. What am I crying about? Okay, this is really cry worthy.
But listen, I'm all about the cry because I have had moments of a breakthrough after a good cry. Like, I can't even explain it, but I definitely agree with that. That was
I'll be finding myself laughing at myself
where I remember crying when I was younger for whatever reason. I remember having those moments that I can recognize the point where, okay, this is dumb. What am I doing?
That's what I was going to say actually, is that there's this thing that happens sometimes. Like, it's not like I'm some super, crier or whatever, but when I'll cry sometimes I'll just start laughing to myself like, this isn't even cry worthy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you're so sad. Like, look at this. And like, you could just fix this. And, like, it's not
release the energy though.
Yeah, you release the energy. Sometimes you're just frustrated. So for me, sometimes I'll just be so frustrated and angry, and it's just the best way to just get it out, and then so I can just move on and think about whatever I need to think about. But I don't recommend holding in the cry unless you got to hold it in to get by yourself, because there's nothing worse than crying in front of other people who not crying. I have
definitely cried in front of other people. I've cried in front of dudes, but a warning to the dudes: if I've cried in front of you, just know that I'm probably gonna cut you off. Not because I cried in front of you, but that's just usually what it ends up being. Like, oh, you know what? You need to get away from him.
Yo, it's funny because I just don't like to cry in front of people because it's my moment. And it's like, I don't want you to take away. I don't want to be thinking about you while I'm crying. I'm crying for me. Right? You know what I'm saying? Get out of here. And that's how I feel. And so anyway,
I have two to add to that list that you didn't say that I want to add to it. One is self-care. The first thing that you should think about when you are feeling depressed or feeling like you're stuck, or if you know that you're traumatized or going through traumatic things, or I don't like the word toxic because everybody's using it, but if you know that you need to do some type of reset, right? Self-care, take a shower, you know what I'm saying? Wash your hair, do something, take some vitamins, like do something for yourself. Pay attention to the water that you're drinking, making sure that you're eating and feeding yourself feeding yourself and preparing food is a form of self-care. So when you think about it in that sense, fix you some soup, cut up them vegetables. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do something that is, geared towards bettering your care of yourself. Buy yourself a new body scrub, something, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then the other thing, the other thing I recommend is take a break from social media. So people always, we don't even have control over some of the things that we see scrolling through social media because those aren't your thoughts. You're going to go on and you're going on to see what people have to say today. Anything could come up, right? So take a break from social media. I like to say that this is going to probably make some people irritated, but I like to say that, it's kind of like a drug because the way that your brain works when you're getting that dopamine from whatever you're getting from social media, your mind is functioning just like the person who is, doing whatever they're doing with the drug. So if you take a step back, you will be, you'll be able to spend more time with your own thoughts. You'll be able to spend that time doing something else. So those are my two that I want to add to that.
I love those. Those were so good because you know what? Those are so real. Like self-care, the self-care piece is so real. I've had days where I've been depressed or felt depressed or whatever, and I've taken a bath or like washed my hair or done something for myself. Or like you said, the soup thing is real. But oh man, and then the social media piece, gosh, sometimes we don't even realize that we're scrolling through there. We might be comparing ourselves to other people. Mm-hmm. We're taking in all this stuff that the access to information is not just access anymore because now we're just letting the floodgates open and whatever comes at us. Mm-hmm. It's not even what we ordered. It's just whatever's there. So,
I'm glad you said order because if you're not being affected by that, you're probably going to buy something that you don't need or already have.
I know.
The packages are always popping up.
Gosh, that's a whole nother show. Okay, so, all right, so we got a few more minutes. I want to just talk about two other things. Okay, so celebrity news. Beyonce is going on tour. So excited. However, I don't know about these ticket prices. Now, I don't know that any tickets have come out, even though people are saying they got their tickets already. I know
I thought they were on sale. Well, the prices were like from $500 and up. I've seen 12,000, 1,200, 1,500. People talking about taking out loans to 401k to get tickets.
Nah, we ain't about to do that, homie. Now, I do think that after this year, she's probably gonna like chill for a few years. So I do think this is the time to go see her. But I know for sure
she's 22.
Yeah, this is true, right? And so I know that at this point, I do want to go and see her, but I'm also wanting to purchase a home. And so we'll see how that works out. But I love her. I was very, I'll just be honest. I was very irritated by people on the internet trying to make decisions for Beyonce, even though they've never done a day of the work or life of Beyonce. They'd have no idea how hard she works. And I wanted to bring this up just so that I could just clap back at the internet real quick. So number one, there was all this drama going on about how she took that payday in Dubai and she didn't think about the LGBT community and all this and that, right? And I can understand how people would be sort of not even upset, but like intrigued or something like, oh, well, why would she do that? Well, I could let me just be the Beyonce spokesperson for tonight.
She's saying yay for the you want to buy a home.
Yes, thank you.
She knows
it's happening. It's happening this year. I just want to speak on Beyonce's behalf because she allowed me to do this. She called me up and she told me, Faith, go ahead and tell them what I told you.
I mean, this is her internet, so.
So, hello. We're all thankful to Beyonce for being able to be on her internet. Now, when she went out there and got whatever check she got, because people are speculating it was 24 million, it was 35 million. A lot of the people who are speculating have never been offered that amount of money. And so I want you to immediately disqualify yourself from making a $24 million decision had you not ever been offered one. So that's number one. if somebody offers you $24 million to do something and you turn it down, that is when you're qualified to say what someone should or shouldn't do for $24 million. And that's just the speculated number. It could have been higher than that. But I just feel like it's asinine for people to think that their way of thinking should automatically be muted into her brain, because that's not what happened here. This is a young lady from Texas who worked her way up to the top, who didn't take any shortcuts. She literally has worked her damn ass off since the 1990s, and we've seen her do that. And so don't you dare think that you can go and use your logic to tell her what she should do to go and make a coin.
It was always tell people, my sister is Beyonce's #1 fan. Okay,
there's no way around it. It was so irritating to me that she has become such a huge star that people I love that people can identify with her music and all of that, but like, where did the lines get crossed where people now think that they can insert their decision making for her decision making? Like, it doesn't even matter why she did it, whether she did it for the money, whether she did it just to go to Dubai, like whether she did it because, oh, this is a great warm-up for my tour. Who cares why she did it? Maybe she went over there exactly for the reason that, like, hey, I'm going to perform my songs in a place where, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Nobody offered you a $24 million paycheck to come and perform. And so you have no opinion. That's what I want to say. That's what I want to say to those people.
Did you just read those people for Beyonce on Beyonce's behalf? That's hilarious.
I mean, I just feel like that's so completely ridiculous. And like, where have we gotten as a humanity for us to think that somebody's going to be thinking with our
thoughts? I don't think it just stops there. I think they do it with everybody. I got to look into that though, because I didn't hear anything about her. Well, I haven't been paying attention to this.
There was so much backlash.
I've not even been getting on my phone until about 9:30 each morning. So then I'll have to play catch up. Like, when I get off here tonight, I'm gonna eat and I'm gonna catch up on my YouTube drama. And I just want to say something about that real quick. YouTube is better than cable. Okay, you can find how to do anything. You can, find out information on how to buy a house. First Home Tuber and On the Spot Live, she got all that information. You can find out how to do hair. You can find out some recipes. You could, get morning routines. You can get workout routines. You can even find, like Goody's going to do the chanting. You can find those videos, affirmations. You can find everything on YouTube. So sometimes I'll be in the gutter set of YouTube. Okay. I'll be in the hood of YouTube sometimes. So it's a lot going on in the hood. And it's just amazing to me that, that's why I started my YouTube channel. Because I was like, if these people could get on here and make money, doing what they're doing, like, why can't I just get on here and talk too? But the thing is, I'm not willing to like go to the depths of the stuff that they're doing to make a coin. But that shit is entertaining as hell, I have to say. Like, it's really entertaining. So anyway, I don't know where I was going with that, but I just want to say I love YouTube.
I believe I'm so a fan of YouTube, and I feel like it's definitely, you could first of all find some things that are on cable, but then also you could find communities of people who love what you love. I just think YouTube is so dope. And the funny thing about it is, like, you could search for something that you might like to watch on cable, or a streaming service, but you could find exactly what you want to watch on YouTube, like down to the, depending like how you search, what your algorithm is tapped and tuned into. So I'm definitely a fan of YouTube, and they are not sponsoring this, but we're on YouTube, so I guess somehow they are, but whatever. All right. So the next thing I wanted to talk about, so I'm off my Beyonce thing. Let me just calm down. Rihanna's going to be performing at the Super Bowl in 2 weeks. Shout out to Rihanna. If I'm going to speak for Rihanna too, because
oh my god,
people for years trolled Rihanna because she didn't put out an album, because she didn't. She was becoming a billionaire. People, she built a whole like makeup company and a clothing line, Savage, and now she's just going to come and shit on everybody. It'll be so funny if she comes and performs a brand new album. And you know what I thought to myself? What if she brings out Chris Brown? Anyway,
that would be crazy.
That would be crazy.
Why would she do that? That would be
well, because he got mixed from something that happened a couple months
ago. But see, but her being the one to bring
that. She doesn't need to do that.
Him out, and
it would make a different statement, I guess. Though,
isn't she still with dude ASAP Rocky?
Oh yeah, that would be weird.
But that would be. I could see it being a wild moment, but then everybody would be like, "What is happening here?
What is happening here?" Yeah,
I really wish that what happened between them didn't happen, because I thought they made a cute couple, whatever, and it would have been good to see them grow, old together or whatever, like Jay-Z and Beyonce. But low key, I feel like Beyonce's just waiting for Jay-Z to kick the bucket so she can really live her life, but. That's just me.
Oh, ouch. No, sometimes I have thoughts about them too. Like, damn, are they both living their best lives? Like, I think about that too. And even in the pressure, right? So it's just a lot.
Yeah, it's got to be a lot of pressure, but I do admire the way, and I guess everybody calls it this, but I like the way she Beyonce's things. Like, she doesn't even come down here to give a response to bullshit, because girl, I'm living my life. Keep doing you.
I'm spending my $24 million. But anyway,
I do like that.
When it's all said and done, I respect these people for who they are, and they're human beings. I love Rihanna, and I'm so grateful that she's doing well. The last thing that I'll say, and we're not going to talk about Ready to Love or Love and Marriage DC, because we have to catch up on the episodes, but I wanted to talk about the fact that the Grammys are airing on February 5th, which is what, Sunday?
Oh Lord, that's right.
And you're old when you don't recognize half the damn people in the fucking Grammy list. Excuse my language. I do recognize some of these people. Like, I've heard about some of these people. Obviously, I know who Lizzo is. I know who Harry Styles is. Oh, loving Kendrick Lamar on that list. Beyonce's on there clearly. Adele's on there. Mary J. Blige. Ooh, so sad, because I didn't even recognize that she had put out new music last year.
I didn't even, but I saw pictures of her. She's looking good. Goody said she's possibly seeing the Beyonce show in DC. I know that's right. Okay, you gotta let me know when you come here, Goody. Well, I ain't in DC, but
Doja Cat is on here. There's a lot of people on here, making me realize that, like, I haven't really been paying attention all that hard this year. But I probably won't watch the Grammys. I'll probably just watch the recaps, because who has time to sit there and watch a whole daggone show? But at the same time, you know what I wanted to point out about this? The Dream. So if you know who The Dream is, he had a bunch of hits in the 2000s. He's still writing music, but like I didn't realize he wrote so many songs last year.
Yeah. So, like, I'm sorry. I just want to say, yeah, he does. He's like a that's probably where he's making a lot of his money.
There's a few people on this Grammy list that I'm super glad that made it on here. People who are not like mainstream. There's a person who's up for Best New Artist, and she is not mainstream at all. And I'm hoping that she gets it. Her name is Samara Joy. She's a jazz singer. There's some other people on here. Mooney Long. Everybody knows who that is. But I completely am grateful that Samara Joy is on here. I'm so glad. One of my favorite bands ever, who never get any love, called Snarky Puppy. I didn't even realize. I know who that is. Yes, they're on for Best Contemporary Instrumental Album. So this is kind of like an exciting year for the underground. Just let me tell it.
Somebody actually sent me that before too.
I love them. They're so good. So anyway, yeah, that's what's happening. If you guys are planning on watching the Grammys, let us know, what you're watching the Grammys, for, like, what you are looking forward to. So homosexuals not going to go to Dubai for vacation, because they will. Look, T.S. Madison got on TMZ and told everybody that people who are LGBTQIA go to Dubai to make money. And the way she said it made me feel like it was some, like, like around the way everybody knows type shit. And I was like, wow, look, you got to do what you got to do to make your coin. Like, that's what it is. Like, lots of us do things that we aren't so, like, excited about. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I served tables for years. Not to say that that's a bad thing, but it wasn't my dream. So it's like you do what you have to do. You make your money, you go home, you live your life. So it's like I just don't understand. And then T.S. Madison, I think, was the person who made this point too on Twitter, which was, okay, all the people who are all up in arms that she went to a non like friendly LGBT country. Are you gonna avoid the states in the U.S. that are non-LGBT friendly? You know what I'm saying? Or are you gonna go to that concert in Alabama or Florida or whatever? You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, look, man, you got to pick your battles here. Like, Beyonce is not the enemy. You know what I'm saying? She's only bringing us the goods.
I forgot you're Beyonce spokesperson.
Hello, I have to be, kind of be on my job. Anyway, that's all we have this week. We have lots of stuff that we are going to talk about and continue next week regarding Ready to Love, regarding Love and Marriage DC, which I've started to watch. We are going to be bringing all of the goodness to you next week as well. But
yes, because I have to catch up on my episodes. And because I really do want to talk about that. But before we go, though, before we close out, I wanted to show you something and get what your thought was. And people in the comments, if you want to replay, chime in below about this, because I was like, I don't know about this. Hold on. Let me pull it up real quick. Oh, no, don't do it. Don't you do it. Oh, damn it. You did it.
That was the whole moment. I love it.
Because I had this thing pulled up. I'm glad I remembered the lady's name, because I don't know, like the internet, I just really started learning how to do TikTok. And so today I did a couple of TikTok, but I was like, I didn't know how to work it, because I was like, okay, I know press record, but I was like, how are people getting these templates? Like, how do I do this? And so I finally learned what a duet and what a stitch was, even though I've done a duet before. But this thing came up. I come across a lot of like interesting stuff or whatever. And I was like, I'm not sure about this, but hold on. I think you know who shared it. I think Ash Cash must have shared it. Dang it. I can't find it now. It was on my screen and it left. So anyway, I guess I'll show that in another thing, unless I pull it up in the next 60 seconds while you talk.
Well, I know one thing. One person who I always go to about social media stuff is This Is Nikki. And she always has a bomb like in on like just different softwares. Like she talked about CapCut. She talked about like these are things that she put me onto, like CapCut, DALL-E. And DALL-E and ChatGPT are actually the same AI company.
So, okay, so yeah, I remember you talking about the other one too. And I actually used CapCut for the first time on my TikTok, trying to get on the damn Black girl follow train when everybody's putting themselves on the boat. So I was like, how the fuck y'all get on the boat? And then I figured it out.
But yeah, This Is Nikki. I would definitely recommend following her. And I'll link you to her, but yeah, you could probably find anybody who's watching can just probably just search her. She's on social media outlets. She used to work with ET with Eric Thomas, and now she kind of like does her own thing. But she has a podcast.
She was.
Let me see if I could just find this.
She was quick. On. No. Oh yeah, share it with everyone. A couple of weeks ago. But I'm gonna find this thing because this was interesting, because I was like, what the heck? Anyway, so you know how people are always talking about what is that? You found it?
No, go ahead. Nikki Saunders. Go ahead. I'm gonna put this in the chat.
Okay, hold on. You got me. Listen, I'm determined to find this thing that I was looking at. And I thought I saved that shit, but I did not.
I'm logged in as you. This is so funny.
Where?
I'm logged in as you.
Oh, that's funny. That's hilarious. Man.
That is hilarious.
I'm about to share this. And please don't play. Wait until I say play, okay? Okay. No. Listen. Okay. Hold on, guys. I have it. It's coming up. But I just want to know what y'all think about this, because it's a whole bunch of stuff like this happening, and I thought this was really interesting. Okay, stop it, man. Just add it to the stream. Okay, so Amazon has introduced a new feature called Pay with Your Palm. So it's a lot of stuff happening with the, roboticized McDonald's out there in Texas. And so check this out.
On kiosk, you insert your credit card and the machine scans both of your palms. Then you enter your mobile number and agrees with terms of use. You're all set. I didn't believe that it worked that simple and decided to check it straight away. I just got something to drink and went to the cashier. And this is the moment. I just paid using my palm. Can you believe? What do you think about this technology?
No, man.
I don't know. I'm like, what?
I don't like that shit, dog.
What else can you do with my handprint? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
I don't like that. I don't like that. Listen, look. Here's why I don't like it. I'm going to keep this real cute. Like, number one, yeah, like, it's not even like I'm hiding anything and like, oh, I think the government's going to find me or anything like that. It's just that I don't want to be giving up all my DNA. So, like, imagine if they're like, just give us 4 of your hair strands and then we'll call it paid. Like, we could just find your shit from there. Like, why? Why do I want my hair strands linked to my credit card? And number one, and number two, it's like, what in the hell?
I mean, like, it would alleviate. So let's play devil's advocate real quick. It would alleviate having to take anything with you. If everything is linked to your hands, you can just kind of walk outside and be like, well, I'm me, wave it over here. But see, I don't know. That's like, I don't know.
I mean, all right. So if I'm taking it from that perspective, I would have a great time at the amusement park. Right now, I don't have to bring none of my credit cards. I don't got to bring my phone. I don't got to bring nothing. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, we got it, guys. This stuff comes at a cost. Everything can't be this convenient. And it's like, what, these things, remember we used to watch those, I don't know if there were sitcoms, whatever we used to watch when we were getting babysat when we were younger. And all we would hear is these like, in the ads in the middle of these shows would be like, does your home suffer from asbestos? Can you sue these people for this water you drank back in 1982? It's like, okay, this is one of those things screaming out to me. Like, oh, do you remember those lasers that scanned your hands? Did you get hand cancer in 2024? Like, no thanks. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Look, there's a reason we have credit cards. We have Apple Pay now. I don't think we need to be, taking it.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. People just got used to, paying with Apple Pay, and now you want me to swipe my palm. And then I don't know. I mean, that's like, okay. I don't know.
Now you have to. Let me just talk about this. Now you have to really protect and conceal your palms. You can't even wave high no more because now I'm gonna be walking around with gloves. Let me tell you. Now I'm gonna, every time I say hi, how are you? Wave to me. I'm taking a motherfucking picture of that shit and I'm putting it on a high resolution 4K picture. And when I go use your palm to pay for my new Tesla, you won't even know it was me because you waved to everybody. You give away 3 waves for 25 years. Now I'm gonna have to go around everybody giving a fist pump, and now I look angry. Like, hi, how are you doing? So I'm not showing nobody my palms because now it's like, what the hell? Like, now you can pay with your palms?
Yeah, I can't get with that right now. No. I mean, I like change, but I don't know about that. Like, I'm not jumping on that one. So. But anyway, this is a good conversation.
One last thing. What if your palm gets declined? Doesn't that make you feel bad about yourself?
I mean, it would be the same thing if your bank card getting
That means
declined.
you have no money nowhere.
I just could not stop that yawn. I'm sorry.
It's all good. That means you have no money anywhere, and everybody knows it because you used your palm. So that means that all of your accounts were relinquished, and it wasn't just the bank. It's you. It's your palm.
That's crazy.
Anyway, all right, I'm done.
I don't see the point. I don't see the point. But like I said, maybe it's because, they are moving towards a cashless system, it seems like. But like the only devil's advocate thing that I have is that you don't have to grab your bag or your purse anymore. You know what I'm saying? But it's only that place that's doing it. Amazon is the only place that's doing it. But then I don't know. I don't know what I think yet. I don't know. Right now, I'm just like,
I don't know either, but I won't be using it just like I did with Uber until I know that, the majority of people have gotten away safe.
I mean, so that I have a mixed bag of feelings about, because the people are background checked and stuff like that, but that doesn't say anything about the way that they process thoughts and the, shit that they do. Like I told you, the last Uber ride that I had to go drop my car off a couple minutes away from the house, and he came to get me from the car place. And it was only a short drive, but in that drive, I found out that he never had COVID, but he drives around people with COVID. And I'm like, well, were they in here right before I got in here? Like, what's going on? Like, why would you tell me that when I just got in your car? Like, and then it just, I don't know. It just seemed like he was a weird guy. So I don't Uber, but
I haven't Uber since I've moved back into Maryland, but
I don't know. I guess it's, I don't know. That's just,
it's fine, but you got to be careful. You got to be careful with anything you do. Anyway, well, this is a great show. I'm so grateful that you guys tuned in. It was a great conversation. Next week when we come back, we're going to have a lot more to talk about, including Ready to Love and Marriage, Love and Marriage DC. Some things that I do not want to talk about, but if they get to be even more salacious, we're going to have to address at least society. Not neither one of those that I just mentioned.
I was about to say, because I'm behind on Ready to Love. I'm about to catch up on that.
There are other things that I did not add to our list because I don't want to be one of the people talking about these things. Okay. But if it gets to be more and more escalated, then I have to talk about why. Why are they more escalated? Why are we being exposed to this information? Okay. So that's something that we'll have to talk about if that happens. But if not, then we'll leave it as it is. Okay. Anyway, another great conversation.
Yes, I piggyback on her sentiments, and I thank you guys for spending your time with us today. I always enjoy these conversations. These are just conversations that her and I would have, whether you guys were here or not, and we just felt like we should let y'all in because y'all comments matter too. It makes us think about different stuff. So we definitely appreciate y'all for being here. Shout out to Goody Gabor. Shout out to First Home Tuber, who's also #OwnASpotLive. Welcome to this. I know we've been gone for a while too, and like we're gonna get it together in 2023. We're coming back because we actually have some interviews for you guys that we're working on to keep in the same mind frame of exposing Black businesses, exposing Black businesses, exposing Black creatives. It's enough out here for all of us to win, and you guys might like us, but we feel like we know some dope people who sometimes are even in the comments, and so we want to share them with you, and whatever they have going on, we want to be able to be a platform to expose that to anyone who wants to see. So anyway, I'm done with my rambling. We're gonna get out of here. Next week we're definitely gonna recap on Ready to Love and Love and Marriage DC, because I'm about to catch up now. And I definitely want to talk about that. And then I know you had other stuff to talk about too. So anyway, with that being said, make sure y'all like the video, subscribe, share the video, and we'll see you guys next week. You have anything else to say?
That's all. You said it beautifully.
All right. We'll see you guys later. Bye.